Have you ever been recruited as a fake boyfriend at a CVS by someone avoiding their ex? I was buying migraine medicine at 2 in the morning when this woman grabbed my arm near the pharmacy counter. Please, she whispered, mascara streaking down her face. Just pretend for 5 minutes. I'll pay you. Before I could respond, she linked her arm through mine and loudly said, Babe, did you find the vitamins? A man I hadn't noticed was standing by the shampoo aisle, watching us with an expression that made my skin crawl. That's my ex, she hissed through a fake smile. Rodrigo, he's been following me for 3 blocks. Rodrigo started walking over, all 6 foot something of him in a wrinkled suit that probably cost more than my car. The woman's grip on my arm tightened. She was shaking. Priya, he said, ignoring me completely. We need to talk about us. There is no us, she said, pressing closer to me. I told you I'm seeing someone. His eyes finally landed on me. 5'4", wearing SpongeBob pajama pants and a paint-stained college hoodie. Clearly not anyone's girlfriend at this particular moment. This is who you're dating? The disbelief in his voice was insulting. Something about his tone flipped a switch in me. I straightened up and pulled Priya closer. Yeah, problem? How long have you been together? He crossed his arms like he was conducting an interrogation. 4 months, Priya said at the exact moment I said 6 months. Rodrigo smirked. The overnight CVS employee was pretending to stock shelves while obviously listening to every word. We've been together 4 months officially, I improvised. But we were friends for 2 months before that. 6 months total since we met at that pottery class. I looked at Priya meaningfully. Remember? You made that lopsided vase? She caught on quick. You said it had character. Because it did. Just like you. I turned back to Rodrigo. Now if you'll excuse us, we're trying to pick up her prescription. She doesn't have any prescriptions, he said triumphantly. I would know. We were together for 3 years. Priya's whole body tensed. I could feel her starting to panic. Without thinking, I stepped forward, putting myself between them. Actually, she does. For anxiety. Which started about 3 years ago. Weird coincidence, right? The CVS employee snorted, then tried to cover it with a cough. Rodrigo's face went red. You don't know anything about her. What's her middle name? I had no idea. But Priya squeezed my hand twice. Some kind of signal? I took a wild guess. She doesn't use it anymore. Not since her grandmother Amara passed. Too painful. Priya gasped. I'd either nailed it or completely failed. But she played along, dabbing at her eyes. You remembered. What's her favorite movie? Rodrigo demanded, getting desperate. Which one? I shot back. The one she tells everyone? Or the one she actually watches when she's sad? He blinked, thrown off. I pressed the advantage. The one she tells people is Casablanca because it sounds sophisticated. But really it's The Princess Bride, and she mouths every single word. Priya stared at me like I was psychic. Lucky guess number 2. Fine, Rodrigo said, pulling out his phone. If you're really dating, prove it. Kiss her. The CVS employee dropped an entire box of shampoo bottles. Priya and I looked at each other. Her eyes were asking permission, terrified but determined. I nodded slightly. She stood on her tiptoes. I leaned down, and we shared the most awkward closed-mouth middle school dance kiss in CVS history. Satisfied? I asked, wiping my mouth for effect. But Rodrigo wasn't done. What's her biggest fear? You, I said without hesitation. That's why she changed her number, moved apartments, and switched gyms. That's why she's shopping at a CVS across town at 2 a.m. instead of the one near her place. That's why her hands haven't stopped shaking since you walked in. The store went silent except for the fluorescent light buzzing. I just want to talk, he said, but his voice had gone cold. No, Priya finally spoke up. You want to control. There's a difference. The CVS employee cleared his throat. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're disturbing other customers. We were literally the only people there, but I appreciated the backup. Rodrigo looked around, realized he was outnumbered, and stormed out, shouting something about this not being over. The automatic doors wheezed shut behind him. Priya collapsed against the candy display, finally letting herself cry for real. The CVS employee brought her a box of tissues from aisle 4 and refused her money. On the house. That guy's been in here before. He gives me the creeps. We sat on the curb outside until Priya stopped, shaking. She told me Rodrigo had been showing up everywhere lately. The gym, the coffee shop, her sister's apartment building. She'd been staying with different friends every night, too scared to establish a pattern. How did you know about the Princess Bride? She asked. Lucky guess. You seem like the type who appreciates true love and good sword fights. She laughed for the first time all night. And my grandmother's name? Your necklace, I admitted. It says Amara in small letters. Figured it was someone important. She touched the necklace unconsciously. You're incredibly observant for someone in SpongeBob pants. They're comfortable, I defended. We exchanged numbers, real ones. I walked her to her friend's apartment 12 blocks away, making sure Rodrigo wasn't following. At the door, she hugged me tight. Thank you for being my fake girlfriend. You're very convincing. Method acting, I said. I really committed to the role. 3 days later, she texted me that Rodrigo had been arrested for violating a restraining order at her sister's place. A month later, she invited me for coffee to say thanks properly. 6 months later, we were actually dating. Now it's been 2 years. We still shop at that CVS sometimes. The same employee still works nights. Last week, he grinned at us and said, so did you ever tell her your real middle name? Priya laughed. She guessed it right the first time. It was fate. Sometimes the best relationships start with a lie that becomes the truth.